The steak was overcooked. She'd ordered medium rare. It came out gray, bleeding nothing. She didn't send it back. Instead, she cut through it with the edge of her fork, took a bite, and chewed like she was killing time. I waited until her glass was almost empty. That's when she listened best, loose but still in control. I said, "I've been thinking a lot about the future lately." She didn't look up, just dragged her knife through the plate, chasing sauce. "Okay," she said. "That dragged out kind of okay, that means go on, but I already know where this is headed." I leaned in, not too close, just enough so it felt private, even though the table next to us could definitely hear. "I'm not saying right now, but soon. I think I want to start trying for a kid." That got her attention. She set the knife down, tucked her hair behind her ear like she was gearing up for a client call. "You," she said, and then she laughed. Not a chuckle, not surprised, full laugh from the diaphragm, like I'd said I wanted to go to space. "You can't even keep a plant alive," she said, still grinning. I just stared at her. I think I nodded, maybe once. My throat felt too tight for words. She took a sip from her wine and smiled, softer now, but there was no apology in it, just amusement. "Come on," she said, waving a hand. "You're barely home as it is. What, you just turn into Superdad overnight?" The thing is, I didn't even expect a yes. I just wanted to start the conversation, open a door. But she slammed it, hard, without even knowing she did it. She turned back to her plate. "I mean, if you're serious, we can talk later, but we're still young." We were not really, not if we wanted time. She forked a potato and pointed it at me. "You're quiet, don't get weird about this. I was just teasing." But she meant every word. I could feel it in my jaw, clenched so tight it ached. "I'm fine," I said. "Good," she replied. "Don't be sensitive." I pushed my food around the plate for another 15 minutes. Didn't eat more than 2 bites. She didn't notice. She was on her phone by dessert, texting someone about meeting up later in the week. Girls' night, maybe, or not. When the check came, I paid in cash. She looked surprised, like that was some grand gesture. "Thanks, babe," she said, leaning in for a kiss. I stood instead, smiled down at her. "Long day tomorrow." She nodded, half listening, already scanning the room. Outside, the air was cold. Not winter cold, just that dry, early spring chill that makes everything feel one layer too thin. I stood on the curb while she requested a rideshare, barely glancing up. When the car pulled up, she kissed my cheek like a reflex. "Let's not get old and boring, okay?" she said, slipping inside. "Kids change everything." The door clicked shut. She didn't look back. I stood there until the taillights disappeared. Walked home slow, didn't take the usual route, needed the extra steps. The hallway smelled like stale takeout. Someone on the 3rd floor was playing guitar badly, again. I unlocked the door, stepped into the dark and stood there for a minute, listening. The place was clean, too clean, like no one lived there. I reached into the drawer by the fridge and pulled out a pen, scribbled 3 words on a post-it and stuck it inside the cabinet above the coffee filters. "Don't forget this." I didn't know what it meant yet, but I'd figure it out soon enough. It wasn't always like this. That's what I told myself, standing in that quiet kitchen, staring at the cabinet where I'd hidden the note. I actually said it out loud, just to hear how it sounded. It felt like trying to believe in a dream that stopped making sense halfway through. We used to talk about everything. I'd sit on the floor beside the tub while she shaved her legs, and we'd plan a whole fake future. One time, she told me our kid would be the kind that eats lunch under a tree and gives his sandwich to squirrels. She laughed when she said it, but not the way she laughs now. That was back when our biggest problem was the upstairs neighbor's leaky faucet, and how many eggs we could afford that week. She wore my hoodies then, didn't care that they hung to her knees. She'd make this little noise, half sigh, half hum when I pulled her into me, like she already knew I was her safe place. I remember one night she woke up crying from a dream. I didn't even ask what it was. Just pulled her closer and whispered, "It's not real, you're good." She whispered back, "Don't ever let me lose this." I didn't. She did. But the weird thing about hope is, it doesn't die all at once. It bleeds out, slow, like a cut you don't feel until the blood hits your shoes. I kept convincing myself we were just busy. She gotten that second promotion, the one with the title that sounded made up. Strategic Brand Insight Manager, whatever that meant. She came home late, tapped her screen during dinner, answered emails in bed. I made jokes about it. Told her the only thing she spooned anymore was her laptop. She smirked, "You're being dramatic." I was lonely. One Saturday, I found her asleep on the couch, still in heels. Her laptop was open, slideshow frozen mid-pitch. I covered her with a blanket and stood there just watching her for a while. I remember thinking, she looks tired. Maybe she just needs time. Maybe we both do. The next morning she made pancakes, from scratch. Used to be our thing. She sang while she cooked, a little off-key, same as always, and flipped them like she used to when we couldn't afford brunch. I almost cried into my coffee, not because it was beautiful, but because I thought maybe this is the turning point. Maybe she's coming back. That same afternoon, she went to get her nails done and didn't come home until 10 p.m. Said she ran into friends. Said she lost track of time. I said, "Okay." She said, "You good?" I nodded. She smiled and kissed my forehead, like I was a child. There were moments, these tiny, flickering ones, where I swore the old version of her peeked through. Like when she sat on the counter and made fun of my Spotify playlist, or when she danced barefoot in the hallway while brushing her teeth. But those flashes didn't last. They never do when the bulb's already burned out. Her perfume changed. That was one of the first things I couldn't explain away. She used to wear this soft vanilla scent, warm, familiar. One night she walked past me and it smelled sharp, new, like hotel soap and citrus. I asked about it. She said, "Oh, you noticed." I said, "It's different." She said, "I just felt like switching it up." I didn't press, but the scent stuck to my hoodie that night. I left it on the chair, couldn't wear it again. Looking back now, I realize I was building a museum in my head, cataloging the good years, the jokes, the half-finished puzzles, the way she curled into me when the power went out. I kept walking through that museum whenever the present got too quiet. I told myself she was just going through something, that love morphs with time, that she was still her, just a newer version. But sometimes, a new version is just the one that doesn't include you anymore. Still, I wasn't ready to leave the museum yet. Not until I saw the cracks in the frame. Not until her laugh started sounding like someone else. I started noticing little things, not big, dramatic red flags, just shifts, the kind you can't prove in a courtroom but feel in your bones. Like how her phone was always upside down now, face down on the table, screen black, notifications silenced. Before, it used to light up mid-dinner and she'd laugh. "It's just work." Now it stayed quiet, too quiet, and she still never looked me in the eye when it buzzed in her purse. I asked once, "Is your phone off?" She shrugged. "It's always on Do Not Disturb, helps with focus." But she never used to care about focus. And the birth control, it was just sitting out, like a centerpiece. She never used to do that. It had always been tucked away, second drawer down, behind the heating pad and the NY quill. Now it was next to her skincare, front and center, like it needed to be seen. I picked it up once, just held it, checked the refill date, new, unopened. She came in while I was still holding it. She didn't flinch. Just said, "Something wrong?" "No, just wondering." "Wondering what?" she asked, opening the medicine cabinet like I wasn't even there. I put it back. "Nothing." She smiled at the mirror. "You get weird when you don't sleep." Maybe she was right. Maybe I was just tired, overthinking. But then there were her friends, the ones I used to know. They stopped asking about us, stopped including me. I'd see photos on her phone or on her stories if she forgot to hide them. Beach trips, dinners, brunch with captions like "Hot girls don't babysit." I never knew what that meant until later. Her best friend, Alyssa, once said right in front of me, "You're lucky he's not pushing the baby agenda." I laughed, tried to play along. I mean, I wouldn't mind a little chaos. Alyssa blinked. Oh, I thought, never mind. She looked at my wife like she'd said too much. I asked later, what was that about? She said, Alyssa talks too much. Then she kissed me, hard like a distraction. I didn't bring it up again. There was this moment one night, maybe 2 weeks after that dinner, where we were both on the couch, TV playing something neither of us were watching. I turned to her and said, "Do you still see us doing that? Kids, I mean." She didn't look at me, just stretched and said, "Maybe, later, life's good right now." Then she turned up the volume. She hadn't answered the question. And I hadn't pushed. That's when I started writing stuff down. Not because I was trying to build a case, just to make sense of what was happening. I'd jot things in the Notes app, timestamp them, track when she left, when she came back, little comments she made, the tone, the silences. One entry just said, "She laughed too hard at something that wasn't funny." Another, "Her new perfume smells like the W Hotel hallway." The scariest part wasn't the changes. It was how easy they were to excuse. She was busy, stressed, tired, focused, independent. Words like armor, words that buy time. One night she came home late, said she'd been at work drinks. Her heels were off before the door even shut, makeup smudged just enough to look careless. "You're up?" she asked. I was sitting in the dark, reading emails. "Couldn't sleep," I said. She walked to the fridge, grabbed a bottle of water, and leaned against the counter like a roommate. "You okay?" "Yeah." "You sure?" "Yeah." She watched me a second longer, then went to bed without saying goodnight. The next morning she was extra sweet, made coffee, played my playlist while she got dressed, wore the necklace I got her last Christmas, the one she hadn't touched in months. I told myself it meant something. But people don't just change back, not like that. Not unless they're hiding something. And me, I was already starting to understand what that meant. The doubt wasn't a shadow anymore, it was the room. I wasn't snooping. I'd been looking for a tax form, that's all. Her laptop was open, screen lit, email tab still active. I needed the 1099 she said came to her inbox. She told me I could grab it, said, "It's probably in the starred folder." So I searched, typed IRS into the search bar. That's when I saw it. Subject line, "Think I dodged a bullet, clinking glasses." From her to Katie, her best friend since college, the one who always acted polite but never liked me. I hovered over it. Clicked. At first it looked like some back-and-forth gossip, normal stuff. Then my name showed up, bolded. "He brought up kids again last night." "You laugh," Katie wrote back. "Of course. He still thinks I'd ruin this body for a baby. He's delusional." That word, delusional. I read it 3 times, like maybe it would change. Then I scrolled. Told him maybe later. He believed it. Men are so easy sometimes. I sat down without realizing it. The chair screeched against the tile. The laptop shook on the table. I wasn't breathing right. There were photos too, lower down in the thread, attached like receipts. A beach, somewhere warm, her in a sundress I hadn't seen. A guy behind her in one of the photos, blurry background but close, too close. Same guy appeared again 2 photos later. Same jawline, same watch. She called him R in the text, just R. R says I should have been honest, told my name. I didn't want a life with diapers and dad jokes. But I can't afford a fight, not yet. My mouth went dry. She wasn't just done, she was strategizing. He's still got no clue. I'm just gonna ride this out until I'm where I need to be. Where was that? And who was I in all this? Just a layover. I closed the laptop gently, too gently, like it would wake her. She was asleep in the bedroom, door halfway shut, leg probably draped across my side of the bed like she always did. I sat there a long time. No rage, no panic. Just stillness, like watching yourself bleed and thinking, so this is how it feels. At some point, the fridge kicked on, that low mechanical hum, the kind of sound you only notice when the rest of your life is completely silent. I looked around the kitchen, our kitchen, the spice rack she alphabetized, the cereal she never ate but said made the shelf look full. I picked up my phone, opened the Notes app, typed one word, R. Then I added the date, time, her exact words. I can't afford a fight, not yet. I didn't need more than that. I didn't want more. I went to bed without brushing my teeth, lay on the edge of the mattress, didn't touch her. She curled into me in her sleep. I didn't move. Next morning I made her coffee, black, one sugar like always. She kissed my cheek and told me I was sweet for no reason. I said just felt like it. She smiled, went back to scrolling. I watched her thumb flick up, up, up. I wondered if she was looking at him, or texting him, or if I was already gone and just hadn't realized it. Later that day, I printed out that email thread. Not all of it, just the part where she called me delusional, where she talked about writing it out. I folded the pages, slipped them into an envelope, labeled it in ink, in case I forget. I tucked it inside the back of my sock drawer, not to confront her with, not yet. Just to prove to myself later that I hadn't imagined it. Because the worst part about betrayal isn't the act itself. It's the gaslight that follows, the rewriting of history. And I wasn't going to let her edit mine. Not this time. Not ever again. I didn't confront her. Didn't ask questions she could twist into answers. Didn't give her room to rewrite the scene. I already knew how it would go, a shrug, a smirk, maybe a tear if she got cornered. Instead, I went quiet. She noticed. "You're not talking much lately," she said one night, peeling off her earrings at the kitchen counter. "Everything okay?" "Just tired." She nodded. "You should take vitamins." The way she said it, like I was the one unraveling. She stopped folding my laundry. I stopped doing hers. A small thing, but it grew like a crack in drywall. I'd come home and see her blouses still in the dryer, wrinkled. She didn't care. Or maybe she was waiting for me to care first. I didn't. I left earlier for work, came home later, ate dinner standing up, washed only my own plate. She called it a rough patch. I called it observation. I started making moves. Not all at once, not enough to raise suspicion. The crypto wallet, I shifted everything to a new cold storage account. Different keys, different location. I didn't hide it, just never mentioned it again. The prenup we signed 5 years ago didn't cover digital assets. That had been her lawyer's blind spot, not mine. I opened a private savings account, moved half my paycheck into it, adjusted the direct deposit when she wasn't looking, labeled it maintenance. I met with my lawyer on my lunch breaks, told him I wanted to update my will, clean slate, no shared beneficiaries, left her 30%, enough to be fair, not enough to be a future. He asked, "You want to tell her about this?" I shook my head. "She'll find it." One afternoon, I stopped by the apartment during work hours, said I forgot something. She was supposed to be at a meeting. Her car wasn't there, but her perfume lingered in the hallway. I didn't go inside. Didn't need to. Just stood at the door, breathed it in. The scent was sharp, clean, hotel soap and citrus. I hadn't smelled vanilla in months. I knew that hallway smell. It was the same scent I remembered from Vegas, standing outside a room I wasn't supposed to be near, waiting for a friend who never came out alone. It hit me the same way now. She got home late that night, said her meeting ran long, eyes glossy, lipstick faded. I didn't ask. She poured wine, leaned against the counter, watched me work on my laptop. "You okay?" "Yeah." "You've been, I don't know, distant." I looked up. "You think so?" She nodded. I waited. She didn't say more. That weekend I canceled our joint travel account, quietly withdrew half, left a clean memo, split per agreement. She texted me an hour later. "Did you move the trip money?" I replied, "Yeah, just simplifying things." She didn't respond. 2 days later she cooked dinner, first time in weeks, set the table, played that soft jazz playlist we used to laugh at. I said, "You're in a good mood." She smiled, just wanted us to feel normal again. I nodded. "What does that mean to you?" She blinked. "What?" "Normal," I said. "What does that mean to you?" She put down her fork. "It means us, before things got complicated." I nodded, ate a bite, told her it tasted good. Then I left the dishes in the sink and went for a walk. She didn't follow. 2 days later, I printed my will. Signed, notarized, clean. I put it in a sealed envelope and labeled it, "In case you still think I'm dramatic." I laid it flat on the kitchen counter, underneath our wedding photo. She'd find it soon enough. And when she did, she'd know I wasn't playing pretend anymore. The man she laughed at was gone. And in his place was someone who remembered everything, without saying a word. She posted a picture of us the day I finished moving out. It was one of those filtered ones, warm tones, soft glow. We were on a boat maybe 6 months back. My arm around her, her head tilted just enough to look affectionate. The caption read, "Best partner, best life." I was folding shirts in a one-bedroom apartment across town when I saw it. No furniture yet. No art on the walls. Just a mattress on the floor and a view of the freeway. I stared at that caption for a while. Then I turned off notifications. By then, everything was already in motion. I'd sold the second car, the sporty one we barely used, told her it didn't make sense with rising insurance. She nodded, distracted, said, "Whatever helps." I sold it in cash, transferred the money to a separate account labeled workshop. She never asked about it. The landlord, I met with him in person, told him we'd be vacating at the end of the month, asked him not to mention it until the final week, said it was sensitive. He understood. My new place wasn't big, but it was mine. No shared names, no shared keys, no decorative pillows I never picked, just clean space and air that didn't smell like someone else's perfume. I left her the big things, the espresso machine she loved, the couch she picked out, even the mirror she hung too high for me. I didn't want to fight, I wanted distance. She called me cold once, said it like a diagnosis. I called it clarity. When the final week came, I packed only what mattered. A few clothes, my books, the guitar she never liked. I left the framed photo of us on the mantel, the one where she's laughing and I'm already starting to look small. I didn't erase anything. I didn't block her. I just stopped answering. The will went on the counter, right under the wedding photo. I placed a sticky note on top. "This is the part where you laugh again." The place was spotless. I even took the trash out. Left her favorite candle burning in the corner, eucalyptus and mint. She once said it made the apartment feel like a spa. Let it smell peaceful, I thought. One last illusion. I walked out without locking the door. 2 blocks away, I heard my phone vibrate. I didn't check. Not yet. That night, I slept better than I had in months. Not because I won. This wasn't about winning. It was about alignment. She called twice the next morning. Left a voicemail that started sweet and cracked halfway through. I don't know what this is supposed to be. If you're trying to make a point, it's not funny. I didn't reply. She texted next. You're being childish. Then, call me. Then, please. I muted the thread. 3 days later, she emailed, said she didn't understand what happened, said I'd switched up, said she felt abandoned. Funny word, abandoned. Coming from the person who'd already walked away emotionally months before I touched the doorknob. I read the email twice, then archived it. The strategy was never to hurt her. It was to remind myself I still had choices. And I made them. Quietly, cleanly. She could keep the apartment, the espresso, the couch, the playlist we never played anymore. I had something else. I had a reset. And for the first time in years, I wasn't waiting for her to notice me. She texted again 2 days later. Is this really happening? I didn't answer. She called once, then again half an hour later, no voicemail this time, just silence stretched out like string between two tin cans. I deleted the missed call, didn't even listen. A week passed, then my sister called, said she got a message from her long, rambling, fake calm voice, said I was acting strange, said I might be in a depressive spiral, said she was worried. That made me laugh, not out loud, just a twitch of the mouth, because the woman who couldn't make eye contact for months was suddenly worried now that I disappeared from the frame. She didn't miss me, she missed control. I told my sister I was fine, told her not to worry, didn't explain. No one gets it, unless they've seen someone fall out of love without leaving the room. She sent one last text that night. This isn't how you treat someone you love. I stared at it for a long time. Then I wrote back. Exactly. I didn't send it. I just watched the blinking cursor until the screen dimmed and turned black. That was the last time I typed her name. The next day, she blocked me. Every platform. Disappeared like she wanted me to believe she'd done the leaving. I let her tell whatever version of the story made her sleep better. That I was unstable. That I ghosted her out of nowhere. That I changed. None of it mattered, not anymore. She kept the apartment. I saw it once months later in the background of a photo someone else posted. Still had the same couch, same mirror, but there was a new table, new wine glasses. I recognized them. They were from our wedding registry. Guess she kept the list. It didn't sting, not really, just felt empty, like watching someone else live a version of your life on TV. Muted. She reached out once more 8 months later. Different number, just said, hope you're well, I still think about that morning. I didn't respond. Not because I was angry. Because I was free. And sometimes silence is the only thing that doesn't lie. I don't hate her. It'd be easier if I did, maybe. But hate takes energy, and I don't owe her that anymore. She wanted freedom. She just didn't want to lose the comfort of being adored while she looked for it. I gave her both. People ask sometimes, the ones who know pieces of the story, if I ever miss her. The truth is, I miss the idea of her, the version that existed before the edits, the version that hummed while she cooked pancakes, that laughed without cruelty, that whispered, "Don't let me lose this." But that version left long before I did. Maybe I stayed because I thought love was endurance, that the more you suffered, the more it meant. But now I know love isn't supposed to feel like waiting for a door to open while someone builds a new exit behind you. I kept thinking she'd come back around. She didn't. She just got better at pretending. And me, I stopped pretending too. I stopped explaining myself. I stopped chasing clarity from people committed to confusion. I folded my hope into an envelope, wrote her name next to mine, and walked away without burning a single thing. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't slam a door. I just left. And in the quiet that followed, I learned something simple. The person who loves you doesn't make you beg for a future they already threw away. She laughed when I said I wanted kids, so I left her something serious to read. And now, I don't wait to be chosen. This is Revenge with Camden. If you've ever been betrayed by the person you trusted most, hit subscribe. You're not alone.